66 million years ago, Earth was a world of giants, a vibrant kingdom ruled by dinosaurs. Life thrived in a complex, ancient balance, from the colossal to the small and vulnerable. Above the endless blue, the pterosaurs, masters of the prehistoric skies, soared on thermal winds. And in the depths, reptilian titans like the Mosasaurus policed the primordial oceans with lethal grace. Every niche was filled. Nature's armor, the Ankylosaurus, was a living fortress of bone. For millions of years, the rhythm of life was dictated only by the sun and the seasons. But in these jungles, a king reigned, Tyrannosaurus Rex, the apex of a 100-million-year dynasty. For the small, survival meant living in the shadows of giants, a life of constant caution. The eye of a predator, perfectly evolved for one purpose: to hunt, to kill, to survive. Here, titanic struggles were a daily occurrence, a violent yet natural part of this world. The air itself was filled with the calls of these magnificent creatures, a planetary symphony. From a distance, the planet was an oasis of life, a blue marble, peaceful and unsuspecting. But from the darkness of deep space, a visitor was coming, a 6-mile-wide messenger of death. On the surface, the delicate dance of life continued, utterly unaware of the approaching doom. Every creature, from hunter to hunted, played its part in a drama with an unwritten final act. The golden light of the setting sun promised another day, another dawn, just like any other. Its trajectory was now certain, a collision course with destiny sealed by the laws of physics. As twilight fell, the great herds settled, a final, peaceful sunset for a world on the brink. But some creatures felt it, a wrongness in the air, a tremor not born of the earth. The planet was a living, breathing entity, yet it could not sense its own mortality. It was no longer a distant object. It was a world killer, aimed at the heart of an empire. The nocturnal world awoke, oblivious that this familiar darkness would be its very last. Even in the deepest oceans, life's strange and beautiful pageant continued its timeless display. Caught by Earth's gravity, the asteroid accelerated, its final, silent plunge beginning. In the night sky, a new star appeared. It did not twinkle. It grew. Primal instinct screamed that something was wrong, an ancient fear of the unknown from above. Across the globe, animals grew restless. The sky itself had become a source of terror, entering the atmosphere. Friction transformed rock into a fireball brighter than 1,000 suns. The heavens were tearing open. Night had been banished by a terrifying, artificial dawn. This was the final moment. The countdown of 100 million years had reached zero. For the giants below, there was no comprehension, only the blinding light of their own extinction. Below the waves, the sea itself began to boil, lit from above by the descending apocalypse. In its final second of life, the creature's eye reflected the very image of its doom. There was no sound in the vacuum, only the silent final approach of planetary annihilation. The moment of impact, an unimaginable release of energy, a world vaporized in an instant. A wound, miles deep, was torn into the Earth's crust. The age of dinosaurs was over. The planet itself rang like a bell, the seismic shock turning solid ground into a liquid sea. A curtain of molten rock was blasted into space, destined to return as a rain of fire. The thermal pulse traveled at light speed, instantly igniting forests hundreds of miles away. The shockwave triggered volcanic eruptions on the opposite side of the world. A global convulsion. The debris that was thrown into space now returned, turning the sky into a storm of meteors. The atmosphere became a convection oven, cooking the surface and igniting a global firestorm. There was no escape. The very air had become an agent of death, a suffocating blanket of heat. From the wound, a mega tsunami was born, a wave miles high, racing to wash the world clean. Then came the sound, a blast wave that flattened everything in its path for 1,000 miles. The oceans, once a cradle of life, became a chaotic, churning agent of destruction. Soot and ash from the fires began to choke the sky, forming a dark shroud around the globe. The sun vanished. A long, dark, and bitter winter had begun in the middle of the day. For the survivors hiding in the earth, the heat was replaced by a sudden, unnatural cold. Continents burned. The fires raged for months, pumping billions of tons of soot into the stratosphere. The king of the dinosaurs was now a ghost, wandering a gray, smoldering kingdom of ash. No coastline was safe. The tsunami carried the story of the impact to every shore on Earth. A world of vibrant color was reduced to shades of gray, a silent, monochrome monument to extinction. Then, the poisoned rains began to fall, turning the last refuges of water into baths of acid. From space, the living planet was gone. In its place, a dull, lifeless sphere, shrouded in death. In the oceans, the base of the food chain collapsed, triggering a silent cascade of extinction. But some of life's legacy endured, hidden away, waiting for the long night to end. An impact winter took hold. Temperatures plunged across the planet, bringing ice to the tropics. The last of the giants fell, not to a predator, but to the slow, cold death of starvation. A final, mournful cry, the last roar of a lost world, swallowed by the profound silence. The world of plants, the foundation of all life, had been burned, frozen, and poisoned. In the deep, the cycle of life and death continued, oblivious to the apocalypse far above. Day and night lost their meaning. There was only a perpetual, freezing, and oppressive twilight. The great symphony of the Cretaceous had fallen silent. Only the whisper of falling ash remained, a permanent scar, a tombstone for an entire era, was carved into the face of the planet. But deep in the shadows, ancient lineages, older than the dinosaurs themselves, held on. And from the ashes, a new protagonist emerged, ready to inherit a shattered world. In just 24 hours, a reign of 150 million years had been brought to a sudden, violent end. The site of the impact remained a toxic, hellish landscape for thousands of years to come. The bones of the fallen told the story, a fossil record of instantaneous mass death. The engines of life had stalled. The great planetary ecosystem had collapsed into darkness. An entire world of giants, reduced to frozen monuments in a dark, silent museum. In the rock, the story is written for all to see, a thin, dark line marking the end of an era. But life is resilient. From the devastation, the first shoots of a new world began to appear. After years of darkness, the sun returned, a promise of life, shining on a world reborn. Over centuries, life reclaimed the planet, growing over the bones of the old world. The dinosaurs were gone, but their legacy lived on, taking to the skies in a new form. With the giants gone, the age of mammals began, a story of explosive, diverse evolution. The planet healed. The scar remains, but life, in its infinite variety, returned. From the ashes of one world, another was born, a new chapter in the epic story of life on Earth. The impact was over, but the war for survival had just begun. The Earth was a ghost of its former self. An impact winter, colder and darker than any ice age, gripped the planet in a stranglehold of ash. But in the frozen silence, ancient survivors waited, their slow heartbeats a faint pulse of defiance. With sunlight gone, the very foundation of life, the soil itself, died. The world was starving. The oceans, the cradle of life, had become a sterile, acidic bath, hostile to all but microbes. Under the surface, our distant ancestors endured, tiny mammals living on the world's scraps in the dark. After a century of darkness, a pale sun returned, a fragile glimmer of hope in a gray, frozen sky. Life's first response was a silent explosion of green, a world covered in ferns, the pioneers of ruin. Slowly, over centuries, the world began to breathe again as new forests rose from the ashes of the old. The inheritors of the earth emerged into a quiet, empty world, a blank canvas for evolution. In the seas, life's most ancient forms began the slow process of rebuilding the marine world. With the giants gone, mammals began to experiment, evolving into new forms to claim the empty world. The dinosaurs were not entirely gone. Their avian children now claimed the skies, breaking the long silence. It was a strange, new world, one without the titans that had shaped it for 100 million years. New kings were crowned, the first large mammalian predators, inventing the rules of the hunt anew. The planet's climate lurched from one extreme to another, a feverish recovery from near death. Evolution filled the void with bizarre experiments, wondrous beasts that walked the hothouse jungles. And in the seas, mammals returned to the water, evolving into the new titans of the deep. On land, for a time, birds once again grew to terrifying sizes, echoing their fearsome ancestors. As grasslands spread, new dynasties arose, adapted for a life of running on the open plains. The arms race between predator and prey began again, a deadly dance that drives evolution forward. And here, in our time, human hands would finally touch the scar that separates the two worlds. Every fossil is a silent story, a stone-bound echo of a life in an almost unimaginable past. The evidence was unmistakable, hidden in the rock, a dusting of star metal, the signature of an asteroid, hidden beneath the jungle, the tombstone of an era, the crater, the definitive proof of the apocalypse. Millions of years passed, the world healed, and life, in its incredible diversity, returned in full force. And in the trees, a new kind of intelligence was stirring, a primate's gaze, holding the spark of our future. Great ice ages came and went, shaping the world we know and setting the stage for humanity's dawn. In the flight of every bird, we see a living ghost, a direct genetic link to the lost age of dinosaurs. A new intelligence now looks to the stars, aware of the universe's creative and destructive power. The giants returned, not as reptiles, but as mammals, rulers of the frozen plains of the Ice Age. Predators reached new peaks of specialization, their forms honed by the realities of the Pleistocene, and a new predator emerged, defined not by tooth or claw, but by a thinking mind and a burning fire. The planet continued to change, the melting ice carving the final features of the world we would inherit. Another age of giants ended, a quieter extinction, a final echo of the great dying of the past. From this, the age of humanity began, one species destined to reshape the planet in a geological blink. Driven by curiosity, we now drill into the wound itself, seeking to read the story of that terrible day. In this cylinder of rock is the entire story: destruction, death, and the slow, miraculous return of life. The moon is a constant, silent reminder that the solar system is a violent and chaotic place. For the first time, a species stands guard, watching the skies for a familiar threat from the darkness. We are forever fascinated by the world we lost and the giants that haunt our collective imagination. The roles have been refilled. Life's great archetypes, the titan, the hunter, the survivor, endure in new forms. Reptiles are no longer rulers, but they are still here, a testament to their own deep resilience. The cosmic debris field remains, a source of both the building blocks of life and its potential end. The threat is not gone. The universe is indifferent. The story could one day repeat, but destruction can also come from within. The Earth itself remains a powerful, untamable force. And now, a new global threat emerges, driven by the actions of the planet's self-aware children. Our story began in cosmic violence, a chaotic dance of both creation and destruction. The very impacts that made Earth a hellscape delivered the water and chemistry needed for life. Our world's entire story is but a single note in a vast, cosmic symphony of becoming. Perhaps the secret to survival has always been hidden in the dark. Independent of the Sunday life's tenacity, is written into the fabric of our planet. From the highest peaks to the deepest rock, for the ancestors of birds, survival meant being small, quick, and adaptable in a world of frozen ruin. Extinction is not an end, but a filter, pruning the tree of life and creating new paths. In stone, we find the proof, the undeniable, beautiful link between two seemingly different worlds. For the rulers of the sea, there was no escape. The oceans offered no sanctuary from a dying world. But life is opportunistic. When a throne is empty, a new ruler will eventually emerge to claim it. The fate of the world came down to a cosmic roll of the dice, a game of mere minutes and miles. Our entire civilization, our art, our science, all of it is built atop the ashes of a lost world. In this tiny skull, we see the face of the ultimate survivor, the founder of our mammalian dynasty. The drive to be born, to live, to continue, is the most powerful force in the universe. In the silence of ancient forests, we can feel the immense depth of time and our small place within it. We are the inheritors of an impossible legacy, the children of survivors of an ancient apocalypse. Our knowledge of the past is the one tool no other species has possessed. It is our greatest hope. Like a single seed on the wind, life's potential for renewal is infinite, waiting only for a chance. The planet's capacity to heal is a profound lesson in hope, a promise written in vibrant green. Our star gives us life, but it also reminds us that all things, even suns, must have an end. The story of the dinosaurs is over, but the story of life, majestic and precious, goes on.